This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, episode 705, 9 EdTech Ideas to Use Now with Vicki Davis and Rachelle Dene Poth. Welcome to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, where you can discover ways to be a more remarkable teacher today. Hosted by author, educator, speaker, and mom, the Cool Cat teacher, Vicki Davis. Today, Vicki invited Rachelle Dene Poth to share 9 of her favorite EdTech ideas that you can easily use now, no matter what your classroom environment requirements are. Rachelle was a Spanish and STEAM teacher at Riverview Junior and Senior High School. She is also an attorney and has a master's degree in instructional technology. From games to Sims to Edmodo and Nearpod and all points in between, Rachelle is a great resource to tap into for all things EdTech. Well, let's jump right in. Enjoy!
As we prepare to teach in a blended or distance learning environment, a rock-solid lesson planner is a must. I use a free program called Planboard for my lesson planning. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn how you can start planning in Planboard for free. Today we're talking with Rachelle Dene Poth. I've had her on the show before, and she's just awesome. And today we're going to talk about 9 helpful ideas for teaching with tech now. Now you can find her at rdene915.com as well as the same handle on Twitter. So check the show notes for how to connect with her. So Rachelle, where do we start with helpful technology for right now? Because teachers are stressed and they need easy, helpful stuff.
I know. And at the end of the last school year, when we made those transitions, the common word was overwhelming. With so many options out there, where to start. And I think at least what I've done throughout the summer and planning for this year is thinking about what can I do to help my students regardless of where learning is taking place, because that might change. And how can I design more active learning experiences? What are some tools or strategies that can help me to do that, especially ones that are really versatile and can be used by any teacher for any content area, grade level, and the learning curve is not steep, and they also don't take a lot of time to get started with, are usually the ones that I like to use in my classroom because I listen to my students and get their feedback, but the ones that I recommend most often.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, everybody always asks me, what are your favorites? And it's always hard to pick, but the one that I have used for the longest and for the most reasons has been Buncee, which for anybody that knows Buncee, it is a multimedia creation tool. I've used it in my Spanish classes with my STEAM students. I've used it personally, but you really can take so much with that tool, have students create videos in it. Teachers can create newsletters, send information about upcoming events, whatever you want to do to create with it. But there are 35,000 choices in the library. But the best thing about it is they have an ideas lab, and it has thousands upon thousands of templates already available for teachers to start using. So really love sharing that one because you can do so much beyond just teaching. You can have students create, and it can be an interactive lesson as well.
Awesome. Love it. What's our second?
It's called Zigazoo. And Zigazoo is for creating short videos by kids or by anybody. Actually, one of my friends is using it now with her 10th and 11th graders who are taking Spanish, but it's kind of a mix between Instagram and TikTok. And it's a video sharing app. The teachers would create a daily prompt. They also recently had some educator channels join in. So places like Philadelphia Zoo, for example, and there are a lot of other ones. And it's a 30-second video. So you can download the app. The teacher can have a classroom and create a prompt, and then students like it because they have their video and they can kind of scroll through it like they would with the other social media networks. So it's been fun to see what everybody's been sharing with that one too.
How does that compare to Flipgrid?
I think just because the 30-second, it's quick and it's meant to be easy, so all students could use it, like younger students in pre-K all the way up, and just the ease of kind of getting started with it and helping students to learn to build those skills and to be able to kind of interact with each other in a similar way that you could on Instagram or with the TikTok videos that kind of scroll through.
Oh, cool. And we had a kindergarten teacher who used Marco Polo, but I bet Zigazoo might be something she would love. Okay, what's the third?
Okay, the third one, which is another one of my favorites, is Nearpod, just because, especially now, if we are transitioning, and I like to look at tools that if we have to find out tomorrow we're going back to our classrooms or we're going out of our classrooms, being able to keep things kind of consistent. So over the years, I've used Nearpod. And I really like it because I can do a lot of things with it. As a Spanish teacher, take my students on all those trips that they want to go on to explore places around the world. and help them to kind of understand what it's like to live in those different countries of the language, where people are speaking Spanish, what it would be like to live there. But also as a teacher to have libraries full of lessons that are available that we can take what we're already using and kind of add on to it and give students a different way to kind of practice and interact with the content. So lots to choose from, easy to get started with that one as well.
And they have some new video features that are kind of like Edpuzzle, which is really cool. Okay, what's their fourth?
Surprisingly, the fourth one is Edpuzzle.
I know, and Edpuzzle is fantastic. And just processing this new video stuff in Nearpod and trying to understand. But talk about it.
Yeah, so Edpuzzle, I really like. I used it a couple of years ago, and I've been using it more this year, especially because one of our days each week is asynchronous. And so I'm trying to find different activities for the students to do that don't all involve screen time, but that let me kind of assess their learning along the way. So I've been using Edpuzzle, creating either my own videos or finding videos for them and just adding in some open-ended questions, some notes even, multiple choice questions if I want, and then letting the students just work through. And some of them are auto-grading, but it's nice they can work through it at their own pace. And then I can also give them some comments along the way as long as they are in my classroom space.
Cool. Another great app. What's the fifth?
Another one I've been using for a long time is Formative, which kind of goes along the lines of Nearpod or say Pear Deck, for example. You can do a lot with Formative. It's an interactive tool. There are formatives already available to choose from in their library. But what I like about it is, again, you can have students join your class and you can ask a lot of different types of questions. You can have short answer, open-ended. You can have these drag and kind of resequence. You can upload PDFs and have students kind of work with that. True, false, you name it, and they can do it at their own pace, or you can use it as an assessment in your class. But as they're working on it, you see their progress in live time, and you can give them direct feedback right to them that they get right away. So I just really like that you don't have to start from scratch. You can choose from the ones available, but then you can also adapt them to make them your own.
And real-time meaningful feedback is so important as we're teaching. What's the sixth?
Okay, the sixth one I really like is Wakelet, which I'm not sure what you can't do with Wakelet at this point, but for myself, I like whenever I'm doing some research or if I'm finding resources for my classes, trying to keep track of what all of those websites are and being able to kind of find them in one space. That's initially how I started to use Wakelet for curating resources. But I found over the last couple of years, people have been using it to teach a lesson for out of like when we were out of our classrooms in the spring. For scavenger hunts, a friend of mine, Laura Steinbrink, created a scavenger hunt for her students using Wakelet. Also for project-based learning, my students would post their products of what they discovered during their project-based learning experience, and we could also kind of interact in that space. But it also has that you can add in Flipgrid videos and so much more. So I just like that there's so many possibilities with it, especially for collaboration, which is so important, especially at this time if we're not together in our physical classroom space.
Oh, so many good ones. And we have a few more to go. Let's go with number 7.
Okay, number 7 is GoSynth, which is for podcasting, essentially. So if you have students who are interested in creating a podcast, for me, I had students connecting with students in Argentina and Spain, kind of like you would use with Flipgrid, but you could have video with this as well. And what I like about using this is you have about 4 minutes to record, and I'll just record short speaking kind of prompts for my students or doing the alphabet. I might spell out words in Spanish, and then they can go back and listen to it. Or if I want to post questions for a prompt, they can kind of respond to them. And then I can listen to all of their responses as a podcast. So pretty easy to get started with that one.
Okay, what's number 8?
Okay, number 8 is Gim Kit, which is another favorite. So these are kind of all over the board, but my students really like Gim Kit, which is a game-based learning tool, similar to many of the other ones out there. But the feedback that I've gotten from my students over the years is that with this one especially, they like that it repeats some of the same questions. So as they work through the game, however long you set that game for, they're getting that repetitive practice. And in the end, they get their results. And for me as a teacher, I can see across the board how the class did. I can see individually how the students did. And then I can work with them one-on-one, or I can rethink my next steps of my lesson and plan for the next steps after that.
Excellent. And we have a number 9.
Number 9 is quizzes, which falls in line with Gim Kit. And what I like about this one too is that you don't have to be in the same physical space. So students can be in their classroom. If you aren't in school for the day, you could launch a game live and they could play it because the questions are on their device. You can have the game be student-paced. The students can also have the app and go back and kind of add certain games that they've played to do review. But I like that I can see the students' progress. I can always go back and look at the reports. And again, I don't have to start from scratch. You can pick a topic and create your own quizzes game really quickly from all of the questions that have already been shared by their teachers, and easy to see, student progress across the board, whether you're playing live in class, which is fun, or if you're having the students do it as a student pace and then kind of being able to give them the feedback after that.
Love these ideas, Rachelle. So fill in the blank. If a teacher is overwhelmed, I hope they don't blank.
Use all of these tools at once.
Pick one. I always say innovate like a turtle, but usually it's like, okay, I'll explore this one today or that one tomorrow, but don't overwhelm yourself.
That is the key. It's just finding one. And so often you might be already using one of these tools, but you didn't think that there are other ways to use them. Listen in on podcasts and just, think outside of the box. But yeah, pick one, try it, see how it goes, then add something else onto it.
And teachers, we're all just working so hard. I know so many of you have been just out of your comfort zone for so long, and you just wonder, when will it, quote, go back to normal? Well, I hope we find a new normal and that we become better teachers. But I will say, in my 19 years, this is certainly the hardest year I've ever taught, and it is a lot. It's easy to get overwhelmed. So tiny little steps forward. And thank you, Rachelle.
And thank you. It was great to be back.
As we prepare to teach in a blended or distance learning environment, a rock-solid lesson planner is a must. I use a free program called Planboard for my lesson planning. My school uses Planboard with Chalk.com's curriculum planning tool. This powerful tool links with standards and gives us the ability to do some time-saving, efficient reporting and tracking. The best thing about Planboard is I can plan my lessons anywhere, on my Mac, my PC, my iPad, or even my phone. Wherever I work, my lesson plans are with me. And as I said, Planboard is free for teachers. Check out Planboard now and sign up for free at coolcatteacher.com/Planboard. That's coolcatteacher.com/PLANBOARD. And join me and thousands of educators everywhere for this amazing lesson planning tool. Thanks.